right here on DJB Productions Network. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell, and by all means, share it. And obviously, we have comments down below. Leave your comments. We want to hear from you. We'll even respond to, etc. I am always on here checking things out here with my good man. We got my man, Vito Lagrasso. Vito.
How's everybody doing? It's the BIGV from the LOG. Hope everybody's doing good. We have an interrupted show today. We had a subject, but we decided to change it at the last minute. Dan, take it away.
That's right. What we are doing, we did have a really cool subject going on, but there's some more pressing things that are happening right now. And here on the Man Cave, we don't just talk about debauchery. We don't just talk about guy things. There's a lot of things that are going on. We have a country that's in peril right now, and more so, we're on the East Coast. You know, you're in Florida. I'm up here in Pennsylvania, and you're Philadelphia, and we have a lot of different things going on with riots, with protesting that's actually going from very sane, very calm, very peaceful protesting to violent protesting. And we just have a world that's like in chaos right now, on top of everything else with pandemics and everything else. And it's just crazy stuff that's going on right now.
No, Dan, I tell you, it's very, very disheartening, you know, and we all know what we're talking about here. We're all talking about the killing of the police officer, by the police officer, Mr. Floyd. And guys, you know, it really, the way they're portraying it is not a black-white thing, because there were three other cops there, three other, you know, social groups and ethnicities. And guys, I hate this with a passion. I don't ever comment on Facebook. I don't make comments about politics. I keep my nose clean. I always post positive things. But this show is more about protecting your family. How do you go about protecting your family during something like this? You know, Dan has, you know, two children, you know, and a wife. I have my wife, you know, and Dan deals with, you know, a special needs child. I deal with my wife who's handicapped. And here's the thing, guys. What do you do if something happens on your block, in your neighborhood, in your gated community, and somebody comes to your door? I'm telling you, I'm picking up the two knives, the two sharpest knives out of my block. I'm gonna hide my wife, and first come, first serve. I'm free to say it because I'm defending my house. I'm defending my wife. You come in my house, I'm gonna hurt you. I promise you. I don't know. I know Dan would do anything to protect his kids, you know. And this ain't about being tough guy. This ain't about being macho. This is about defending your family during a crisis. Dan, I mean, give me your views on it.
I mean, here's the deal. I mean, especially if you're talking about defending your house, okay? Right now, the riots have been going towards stores. They've been going towards establishments. And in all honesty, let's face it, everybody that I'm talking about is saying, hey, you know, this is something that, like, how is this proving your point? How is this making anything better about what's going on by causing violence, by causing any kind of, you know, you're talking about chaos. It's theft. And, you know, it's almost like you took a very sad time in America and you gave yourself a reason to commit crimes. You know, you're taking advantage of Mr. Floyd's memory. You're taking advantage of his sad situation. You're taking advantage of the nation's turmoil with police and stuff like that. Because let's face it, this officer that was involved in this Floyd murder, unfortunately, is someone that has a very irreputable past as far as his record's concerned. It's one of those things where in a regular job, anybody with that many offenses against them would probably not be working. So you're talking about a scenario where, you know, why has this been tolerated for so long? Why did someone have to perish because of the fact that people look the other way? And I think that's what everybody's looking at. Now, with saying that in a calm, rational sense, it irates people, and it's a truth. And they have the right to be irate, but you're not proving anything by breaking into Walmarts and breaking into, you know, other stores and rioting and causing fires, and then also going against our police. Remember, just because this particular guy was an officer and he did this, that does not mean our police departments are all bad. Okay, they're there to serve and protect. Okay, we need to remember that, because I have friends that are law enforcement, and they are not like this guy. Okay, and it's not like you're going to have a perfect officer every time, because people are individuals.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. And I want to say this. I have a lot of my boys, and then, like, when I was in Staten Island, I had so many guys who were my buddies, detectives and everybody who were my friends, right? I had Supreme Court judges who were my friends. And when you come to Florida, right?
Right.
Okay, I went to Pennsylvania, and I made friends with all the police, the whole police force in East Fallowfield.
Yeah.
They all knew me by my first name. They all saw my truck. They all knew who I was. I used to stop by. They used to stop by my house and do checks. If said, listen, things are going on in the neighborhood. Can you check on my wife? They would actually go and check on my wife, make sure everything is good, knock on doors. And there are good police officers out there. I'm not saying that everybody is bad, but you know what, guys? There are some guys who take advantage of the situation and their power. If I was a police officer, that's something I've always wanted. If I had the chance to be a corrections officer or a police officer, it just never fell to me for some reason.
Right.
But I would be that cool cop. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wouldn't be that asshole cop who gave you a ticket because you're a jerk. I would be the coolest cop. But when it came time to say, hey, now it's business.
Yeah.
It would be business. If I was a detective, I would be the cool detective, because I know what you're doing. I know the streets. I know what you're going to do. I know what business goes on. But those guys are your friends, and God forbid anything went down.
Well, you know what? You can't shame the business for the individuals that get into it. In professional wrestling, how many people could you count that got into that business for the wrong reasons?
Professional wrestling is
But you see what I'm saying? There's a reason you get into the business. There's a reason why you have a respect for the business. And then there are people that did not understand the business and did not understand their roles and stuff like that. In DJing, as an example, there are people that get into DJing for absolutely the wrong reasons. And you're saying, well, what wrong reasons could there be? And
meeting girls, meeting women. If you had to say, why would you get to be a DJ? I would say, first thing, I want to meet hot chicks. I want to play your favorite music. I want to take you home at the end of the night and get a tip.
Yes.
Right? If I was going to be a wrestler, and if I came up and said, okay, and this goes back 30 years, okay? You say, why do you want to be a wrestler? Because I want to be on TV. You want to make it to the WWF, right? And then what comes along with it? You say women, I call them sponsors. I don't call them rats, because that's very disrespectful, because you're having a good time with them. So if you're going to be out there with your sponsors, hey, you're going to have a good time. But that's the way that's what I call them. They're my sponsors, right? So if they're your sponsors, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you're having a good time, but there's an etiquette to it. You know what I mean? And if you're classy about it, you never have a beef with any.
But you know what? You could pick out individuals.
Yes.
And say, you know what, this guy is in this for the wrong reasons, and it goes with every industry. And I'm sure in law enforcement, in military, there are people that get into it for the wrong reasons. It's just that simple. And you can't blame the profession.
No.
And you can't blame the majority of that industry for those individuals, because there are individuals that get in the military for all the wrong reasons. There are people that become cops, like you said, they get hungry with power.
And most cops go in there with the same attitude. I want to change.
Yeah.
I want to make a difference. But when they get in there, like you see in real life and in the movies especially, they portray that so heavily, and it's a point. You're not going to change everything. You're going to see you can't do it. Right. And you're going to change your ways. Yeah.
And either you're going to be hold to your convictions, or you're going to go with the flow. You can either be a fence hanger, as I like to call them, where you flow with the wind, or you're going to be someone that's going to hold your convictions. And granted, you're going to know your place, you're going to know your role, etc., and know what's going to happen. But you can't sit there and say because this guy who was an irreparable human being, you can't sit there and say that every cop is the same way. You can't say that. You can't say that police in general are bad, so let's go attack them. I mean, that's not what they're there for. Because I got news for you: the police that you're attacking today may be saving your life tomorrow based on somebody attacking you.
And that is a great point, Dan, because everybody downs the police department, right?
Right.
But and they say cops are pigs, they this, that, the other.
Right.
But something happens to your property or somebody comes to you, who do you call? The police. And if you're very vocal and you're on social media and you're that guy, you think they're going to run to your house and going to be helpful? And oh, you need me now? Oh, I thought we were pigs. I thought we were. They're going to take that. They ain't going to be so helpful, even though they're supposed to serve the public.
Right.
But it's such a different way today. 30 years ago, let's go back. Let's go back to our childhoods. Now,
yeah.
I'm a little bit older than Dan. Dan, we're both over 40. Let's put it that way, right? Over 40.
Yeah, we're both over 40.
Over 40, right? So you go back, and what do you remember? Police officer was treated like a god. God forbid you said anything. If your cop slapped you and brought you home to your father, you got slapped again. And if they brought you home to your mother, boy, did you get a beat,
man,
right?
If
you got into a fight and the cop was there, okay, you two assholes, let's go see. Both of you fight it out, and then we're done. Because that was the way it was done back then. You shook hands and you went on your way. If you lost the fight, you lost. Today, there's such revenge. Police can't do that. And it's cool when you see a police officer shooting baskets in the hood. It's cool when you see them mixing it up with the people, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're there for the people. You serve the people. But the disrespect that these people get is disgraceful and horrible. I hold the police in the highest regard, and you're respectful because that's what I was taught. But when you see them trying to throw, I don't know if it was it might have been in Philadelphia last night, where two girls threw fire bombs at the police, and they torched a cop car, and both of them got arrested. They're up on felony charges, and everybody thinks it's funny and but they got tapes on everybody who went in every target. They got tapes on everybody who looted, who did something. They're gonna find you. They're gonna arrest you. And for the guy who took all the TVs, he had 5 TVs on a gurney and put it out.
I think what I heard, there were 48 arrests.
Yes.
Out of like 190 some people. Right. That were like basically reported, but it was 48 arrests, which is not bad. I mean, that's less than half, but that's for a riot situation. That's pretty damn good that they're on top of it. And I'll tell you, we tend to forget. You're going back to saying about the police interacting with the public and stuff like that. They're people, just like you and I. They're public servants. You know what I mean? You're not going to give a firefighter problems because he busted up your house when your house was on fire. The problem is, and I'll tell you this much, and I think a lot of mature adults on either side of the race card will agree with this, is that it starts with, my father always said, you can fix you can't fix everybody else.
No, you're right.
You can fix you. So it starts with you. And in all honesty, if you're going to sit there and take this and I call it a cop out because my father was somebody that had every reason to be a complete scum of the earth and was not, because he said, I'm not going to be. Okay. He took his life and his fate in his own hands and said, I'm molding this basically. And I'm going to be nobody's going to direct me to be something. Okay.
Dan, I got to say this, and like I said, guys, I'm older than Dan, right? And I grew up as a kid in the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going back. And when you seen racial riots, I lived in a predominantly Italian neighborhood. Up the street was the high school where black and whites would bust in. The blacks would bust in, right? So what did you think? Now, I'm a child. I don't know anything. This is during Vietnam. This is during all this time. So when you actually see this, what I saw last night, police pushing and hitting protesters, it brought me back 50 something years. I'm like, oh my God. I say, I can't believe I'm reliving this again because this was up the street from my house,
Yeah.
but I was protected. And then you're seeing this, and they're hitting the people in the knees, knocking people down. What are the cops supposed to be? I even saw a tape of a guy wielding an axe, and the police officer did not pull his weapon.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but the police officer is afraid to pull his weapon now because is he going to get fired? Is he going to get scrutinized? Who's that?
Right. Keeping him from protecting and serving, which is what his job is.
Now, if
Yeah.
somebody's coming at you and they're swinging an axe at you, I'm going to pull my weapon and I'm going to shoot you because you're coming to kill me. But
Yes.
that police officer was afraid to pull his weapon, and that sucks.
It does. And it's disarming them. And let's face it, they're outnumbered by the people. Okay. So they're already going into a losing battle as it is. And let me tell you something. This, unfortunately, not to make less of what happened with Mr. Floyd, but like this couldn't have happened at the worst time in life right now. With a pandemic where we practically are in civil war between Democrats and Republicans, per se. It's the worst I've ever seen it in all my 40-something years in life, and then on top of that, this happens. And let me tell you something, there's a lot of racist people out there. There are a lot of people on both sides, whites and blacks. Okay. And, is this profiling happening? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And, does that mean you write off the entire police force? No, it does not. It does not.
And people, I just want everybody who watches this, and we don't have numbers on how many people watch this show, and we don't know who's interested in watching our show. But believe me, I'm stating this as a statement. I do not have a view on politics. I do not have a view on race because I've always treated people with equal respect from when I was a kid and a ball player and a wrestler. I don't have a side in politics. There are things that I don't agree with, but I keep to myself. But at the end of the day, I have to pay my taxes. I have to support my family. I have to live by the rules set forth, so it doesn't matter what I say, But when we have a platform like this, and we just want to reiterate, we are not against or with anybody. We're just giving an analytic view of what we see and how we feel. And
Right.
This is nothing in writing. This is nothing derogatory. This is not I hate you, I love you. This is just what we see as individuals who have grown up to be men and family men and protecting your families today. And how do you protect your family? Now, Dan, if there was something going down your block, now Dan has had issues with his car, right? We noted this on the show, right? And this is all caused because of his wife. She put the Malocchio on his car. We all know this, right? So God forbid something happens down his block where it comes and they start banging on his door and they start breaking glass. Now, Dan has a German Shepherd in there, and I'm sure that dog will go down swinging. Ferocious.
Yes. Yeah, you don't take it. Yeah,
But if they get past the dog, then there's Dan. Now,
I got news for you. Not that I would put my kids first, but my youngest daughter, who's a brown belt in Kempo, she actually sleeps with a baseball bat right underneath her pillow.
Yeah,
We laugh and we say, "What the hell are you doing?" She goes, "I don't know who goes anywhere, but if somebody comes in this house," she said, "I'm not waiting for the dog to attack because I'm going to attack." And that's what my daughter, and God bless her, that's what she's a tough bitch.
God bless her, but it sucks that she has to live with that and live within that fear.
And we live in a good neighborhood. Let me emphasize that. I don't live in a bad neighborhood. I don't live in a neighborhood where I would ever have to worry about that. Okay. I live in average Joe America where, you should lock your doors because in the year 2020, this ain't the Waltons anymore. You can't leave your door unlocked, but but I don't ever feel concerned that I'm going to get looted, but with this stuff happening right now, and it goes back to a combination of things. You have people doing this that have no opinion. on why they're doing it. They have no opinion on protesting. They have no opinion on whether the cop was right, whether the Mr. Floyd was in the right. They don't even care about that. This is an opportunity for them to do something and hopefully get away with it. And that's the bad thing.
No, Dan, my next thing in my life, and this is something I have wanted to do. I would like to buy my next house, right?
Right.
Now, I live in a beautiful golf course community, gated community, highly secured. I'm good. But then there's the part of me that says, I would like to have an acre of land. I would like to have everything I want. I want a built-in horseshoe. I want my cornhole. I would like my pool. I would like a pool house. I would like my fire pit. I want a dining area. I want my outside entertainment, right?
Right.
I would like to have 2 grown Rottweilers because I'm a big Rottweiler guy.
Yes, you are.
100 pounds and better, in shape, running the perimeter in a gated fence. This way, if God forbid I'm not home, and this is something I taught my dogs, I always go, you watch, and they understood. And they would all walk around, and if I wasn't there, as soon as I came home and I'd scream from the top window, they heard my voice, ears go up, they run to the door, they come out, they know the man of the house is home.
Good.
But when I'm gone, they know that they have to protect that house. That's their perimeter.
Yeah.
And what better than to have 2 100-pound Rottweilers? You see those dogs out there, they're protecting. They see you coming over the fence. I feel sorry for you. And if you come in the house and you attack my wife, good luck.
Yeah.
And I'm
my
not
German Shepherd's the same way. My German Shepherd's 110 pounds roughly. And he just today's his birthday, actually. Turned 7 today. And he's as spry as a puppy, which everybody's like, I can't get over how energetic this dog is at 7 years old. But he is very quiet. He roams the house all night on his own without training. He just patrols the house all night. And then what he does is he'll sleep in the doorway between the hallway and our bedroom because you're not getting in there. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So he sleeps right, like his head out in the hallway, his ass is in the bedroom, type of thing. He sleeps right in that doorway. And then when I come in from work, because I work overnight, when I come in, you're talking about, he'll be at the top of the steps, and I know what he's doing because I hear him walking, but he won't come down unless like I go to the steps and he sees it's me, and he starts wagging his tail. Like he waits. And I got news for you. If anybody ever came to my house, the unholy shit that would happen, because that dog, you'll never see him coming, and he'll tear you to fuck up. Believe what I tell you.
Dan, we had we had Taz.
Yes.
And Taz was probably one of the best dogs you could ever have. I had some Rottweilers. I had Tyson, and I had Brother. Now Tyson was like one of the first. He was the first Rottweiler I had.
Right.
Talk about a German Rottweiler, trained. Lady couldn't take care of him, and I took him on. Talk about two guys walking down the street. Talk about somebody who was a good dog, not ball. And Rottweilers, they're obedient. They're not jumpers. They stay. They're good, right? You treat them good. They're loyal, and having him was like great. When we got Taz was a retired show dog who was at a house with 2 older people, and they wanted to move a dog. And I said at the time, my wife was my girlfriend, and she was going through a little bit of a rough time. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go pick this dog up. So I took her one day. I said, let's go for a ride. So where are we going? I said, just come along. So she didn't know I was picking up the dog, and I picked up Taz. Now Taz was in the house, and she was a bull in that house. When I was playing with her and I seen her, and we took to each other.
Right.
And I said, okay, I know I could trust this dog. When Taz was in Florida with me, you talk about an in shape, beautiful coat, glistening. You talk about like obedient, good. And then the one night I will tell everybody here, my wife would walk Taz, and there was this whippet dog with this guy, and he thought he was being an asshole, right? He would let the dog come in the door, and Taz would go ballistic, and she wouldn't let him. I said, babe, don't let him out. I said, let me know who this guy is. Finally, I got to go, and I met this guy. I go out the door. I open the door. I'm grooming Taz outside my door. Taz sees the freaking dog and the guy. Taz rolls up on this guy, and I've been waiting to catch this motherfucker. I said, okay, now I'm here. You think it's fucking funny? I said, make a move. I said, my dog will fucking eat your ass, and I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
Right.
He shit his pants so bad. Right? I wrote on Facebook, and Taz stood strong. She was there waiting for us to go. I was so proud of her because as our first street fight together, we were ready to kick ass. And it was a proud moment because that dog stood tall, waited for me to give the okay. And then I had my other dog, Brother, right?
Yeah.
He was 100 pounds of massive dog, 2 years old. And you talk about a good dog, good to the kids in the neighborhood. He knew where to walk for food, know where to walk to be groomed. We went to go play ball, knew the route we were taking, that I would let him go on a 20-foot leash, right? All the girls and all the ladies in the neighborhood, hi, brother, hi. It was a chick magnet, right? The one day I had him in the garage, and I was going outside, and there's another whippet dog coming. He almost ripped the whole wood shed that I had in the garage that was built in. He almost ripped it off trying to protect me. And anytime I was talking to somebody, he would stand right between me and the person. That's a good dog.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm telling you, having a dog like that as a protector, protecting your family, looking out after your wife and kids. And these dogs, like they know. And if it's a child in the house, go by that crib. Go by that child.
And you know what, though, too? Here's the thing. We're talking about having a family member, a pet, in a sense. This is not a gun.
No.
This is not a knife. This is not a weapon. Okay? So I honestly think the people that have the guns, and I'll always protect your right to have weapons and stuff like that because it's in our amendments. But the fact that I think some of these guys get it because they're looking for the reason to pull the gun. They're looking for the reason to pull the gun. We're talking about protecting your family. I hope that my dog never has to attack anybody. I hope your dog, Bruiser, who you have now, which I don't think would attack anybody really anyway.
but you know what, Dan? I had a weapon. I had when I came back from Nepal, I said, you know what? All these years I almost got killed. I said, I'm gonna get it concealed. I had the test, I had the gun, and I had it. It was so much responsibility to carry it, unplug it, use it. I said, fuck, I'm gonna throw this shit at you and I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. Right. I'm not gonna pull the weapon. And then I just had it in the house, just to have in the house.
Yeah.
You know what? And then finally I got rid of it, but then I got it back, and then I got rid of it. And then I got it back, and I said, and at this point, I'm just like, okay, we're protected, we're good. But you asked me to carry it outside, the responsibility and a half, and God forbid you make a decision and it's time for you to pull it. What do you do? Do you shoot? I know I would.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I would.
I mean, if you're going to have it, and they say if you're going to pull it, you better be prepared. You got to shoot it.
And they tell you, empty out all 6 shots. Put the gun on the ground. Take a seat. Wait for the police. When the police come, are you ready to give a statement? No, I need to go to the hospital because I need to take my time. You're taking your time because you're in shock. You go to the hospital, and then you come out with your statement. By that time, you should have your lawyer. Your lawyer's there. You talk to your lawyer. You do what you got to do, and then you give your statement.
That's right. But you know what? In closing, though, there's ways to avoid all this. There really are ways to avoid all this. And I'll tell you certain ways that I'll sit there and say you can avoid it. One, avoid political conversations, especially nowadays, because it's not going to. You can have your views. You can have your reviews, and let me tell you something. I will respect everyone's views, even if they're against mine, because that's the country we live in.
Yes.
At its core, you have the right to think your way, and I have the right to think mine, and that's what we fight for, and that's what we live for, and that's a good thing.
Right.
Okay, but don't force me to think your way. I'm sure as hell not forcing you to think mine.
Nope.
Okay. And by avoiding these political conversations, and I tell my wife all the time, and she does not listen.
Nope, she doesn't.
She doesn't. You know this. It's one of those things where I'm like, you would have such a nicer time on social media if you weren't getting involved in all that. She's involved in all that stuff. You know what I'm looking at? Cartoons.
No.
I'm looking at simple stuff. I'm looking at wrestling. Yeah,
I'd rather be at the pool getting my tan on, or go work out, or do something. I ain't got time for this nonsense. I got to deal with everything else.
And you know what? Another thing you do, you stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home. Right now, we got to stay home. And I got news for you. Everybody who's complaining about being locked in the house and it's against my freedoms and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. You must really have a hard life at home, because I said to them, I could do this for the next 3 years because I'm spending so much time with my family. Yep. And it's blessed time. And as I get past 40, not to sound morbid, but I recognize mortality a lot more now than I did 10, 15, 20 years ago. Okay. So I'm counting every moment as a blessing. And I say, you know what? I got this, because I feel my body breaking down. I'm not as spry as I used to be. And I'm like, you know what? With that being said, I think back to when I was a kid, being with my parents and stuff like that. And now my mother's gone a number of years now. My dad's up there in age. So I'm sitting there saying, you know what? Now I'm the parent and I'm in that situation. And it's like, I want to really, really be here and enjoy everything. So you know what? If being home with your family is the worst thing that's happening to you, then God bless you. Honestly. You understand what I'm saying? Because some people don't even have that.
I think we're just closing on that. Dan, end the show. Give your plugs. You give my plugs, and we're out of here.
Well, right now, you can see right down there. Go to djvproductionsnetwork.com. That'll bring you right to the channel, and you can subscribe. You can hit the notification bell. You can leave some comments right here on the YouTube channel. When you check out V, go to the twitch.tv/the big, I'm totally messed that up. twitch.tv/the big Vito brand. Plenty of stuff on there as well. I'm getting notifications all the time for new shows that are popping up. One to look out for is Mr. and Mrs. That tends to be a nice favorite of everybody. And as always, just go on the social medias. You can check out the Big Vito brand on Facebook as well. You can check out myself, Danny J, right on Facebook. You can go DJ Danny J. You can check it out right there. And remember to check us out here every weekend. We come out every Sunday right here on the two channels with the Man Cave. Always happy to do the show here. And guys, love it, share it, subscribe, and enjoy.
All right, guys. Hey, I just got to say, be safe out there. Sometimes being quiet helps a lot. And guys, just take care of your families and just do the right thing. And just let's hope we get through all this, and come out safe. Peace out. This is the Big Vito brand, the BIGV from the LOG. Peace.
It's a lot of stuff. Just go to djvproductions.com. I'll talk to you later, guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye now.